Okay, so we're doing this is a video to help you do the StatDisk labs. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, of course, get to StatDisk, and a lot of different there's a couple different ways we can get through this. You can use get to statdisk.com, and or you can go to you can look up Trilla Stats. Of course, you get to here. And if you go to StatDisk, you'll be taken directly to statdisk.com. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going to use. So now what we'll do is we'll need to use find the lab manual. Okay. So our lab manual is going to be this PDF here, and it is there's a link to it. It's free. There's a link to it in Canvas. Of course, you can just again look it up. But you want to get this version here, which is the version that accompanies the Elementary Statistics 14th edition, which is essentially the same as Essentials of Statistics 7th edition, at least as far as I can tell. Okay, so once we have this, so make sure, make sure you get this edition right here. Once we have this, you want to go through, maybe just kind of quickly go through some of this part right here. Again, so hopefully you start feeling comfortable with these kind of things that you can do with StatDisk. And again, I'll put some, you'll see the instructions on the assignments part in Canvas, but you want to read through pages 2 through 10. We get to here. And then finally we get to this page right here, which is where the exercises for the labs are going to come from, or at least for this first lab is going to come from. Okay, so we're going to go through exercises 1, 2, and 1, 3, but you want then that's what you're going to submit. But you also want to do 1, 1, and 1, 4 just to make sure that you can do these kind of things, because we will occasionally do the operations that come from 1, 1, and 4 throughout the labs in the semester. Okay, so let's do 1, 1 first. All right, so we got StatDisk, and we're going to enter the above sample temperatures. Okay, so let's do this. So 98.6, 98.6, 98.0, 98.0, and then 99.0. Okay. All right, so then now what we'll do is save this data to your computer. So I'm going to download this data. And again, what formats you use will depend on your computer, but I think it's probably often safest just to use the CSV file. And in this case, we're going to include the column headers. Again, this mainly because the CSV file is a fairly straightforward text file where just the data points are delimited by commas, and there's very little markup, if at all. Okay, so we do that. And now what we'll do is, okay, let's clear everything. And the next part says upload the saved data back into StatDisk. Okay, so we're going to upload data here. I'm going to browse the files here. I'm going to go to downloads. That's where it is for me. This, and so then now, okay, we want to check here if the data contains columns, titles, or headers. How is the data delimited? Well, commas. That's a CSV file, and then we'll just proceed with uploading the data, and that's what you get. Okay, all right. So that's 1, 1. Now let's do 1, 4. Okay, so let's clear this. Again, not strictly necessary. But and then we'll bring up the data sets, and so you can see there's a lot of options here. So we'll just follow what's in the lab manual, but like I said, the data sets between the 14th edition of Elementary Stats and the 7th edition of Essential Stats, I think, are very similar. So we'll go right here. We'll go to Vision, And then it says, okay, let's copy the data in the column for the right eye. Okay, so we'll take this. Let me copy the data. And so then now let's paste it onto a spreadsheet. And in this case, in my case, I'm going to use numbers. And then we'll just take the spread, copy this right here. Okay. So now it's in a spreadsheet. I mean, there's no, again, which spreadsheet, of course, for you depends on what you're using. And then now what we'll do is I'll clear the StatDist sample editor. And we'll copy the right eye data from, in this case, numbers, or in your case, maybe Excel or Google Sheets or StatCrunch or whatever, and then paste it back into Stat. Okay, so we'll go right here. Let me just kind of let's see. All right, I'm gonna have to do. Okay, now we do that, and we got this back into here. Okay, so hopefully that shows you how to go through 1.1 and 1.4. So now what we'll do is we'll actually go through the lab. Okay, so let's clear everything here. And what I want to do is, so the actual lab that you're going to submit is going to be you're going to go through the exercises of 1.2, A, B, and C, and 1.3. Okay, so let me show you. So this is just one way to do it. You know how you do it. At least if you follow these procedures, you should get full credit for the lab. And of course, if there's some things that are missing, I'll let you guys know in the Canvas comments. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, all right, so what you want to do is kind of prepare whatever what you're going to use to actually type up your lab. And so let me just kind of go there. All right, so I'm going to use Pages. And so what you want to do is you want to put all the names, your name here, your full name, and maybe up to, and again, you can work with up to 4 people. And so you want to put everyone's full name. And again, and so let me just be clear, you only need to submit 1 lab for your group. Okay, and so I'll just distribute whatever score you get to the 1 through 4 people that are here. Of course, if you just want to work by yourself, that's up to you. And then simply just put the lab title here, Lab 1, Math 5. And that's it. That's the only data that I really need. And of course, because it will be time-stamped when you upload it to Canvas. All right, and so so how you write this part up here is up to you. But I just wrote 1, 2, and then just, I wouldn't, necessarily rewrite all of this. I don't think that's necessary. But I just put editing data here, the boldface, just to remind myself what this question is asking. And if you notice here, there's A, B, and C, and I put this part right here will consist of screenshots. This is the answer, and the answer to this question right here. Okay, all right. So let's follow this part right here. We'll open the data set bare measurements, and then find the value of the mean of the weights by selecting data, then explore data, descriptive stats, and enter. Then we'll enter the mean weight. Okay, so we'll go back to here. Look at the data sets. And then we'll go to data set number 18, and we'll get the bare measurements. So now what you're asked to do is to find the mean weight of the 54 wild bears that were sampled or observed. And so then now what you want to go to is this part right here, data, and explore data, descriptive stats. And in our case, we're going to look at this column, weight, and we're going to explore data from this column of weight, and then we'll push evaluate. And so right here, you can see you get all sorts of descriptive statistics, right? We're not going to, for this part, we can ignore the histogram here, or the box plot, or the normal quantile plot. We'll talk about these things actually pretty soon in chapter 2. What you can do is use, what you want to do is use this part right here. And so now we'll just take a screenshot. So let me just take this part right here. And we'll capture. And so that's a screenshot of the data that we got. And now we go to, I'm going to go to my pages, right? And just take this screenshot and just paste it onto here. Yeah, put it here. All right. So again, how you do it precisely on your computer is, you know, that's up to you. Let me just resize it slightly. Okay. All right. So let's just do it this way. Okay. So then now, so like I said, you do want to take a screenshot of your stat disk output. This is all you need. You don't need anything else. And then now, okay, well, we have this part right here. And so now let's answer the question. Okay, so let's answer this question here. So what is the question asking you? Okay, well, what's the mean weight? Right, that's the part A. Okay, well, we have this. Sorry, let me just move this here. So I would ask for everyone to write in complete sentence. And you can say the mean weight is, in this case right here, we can go right here. You can see the mean weight is 182.8889. And again, of course, you don't have to put all of that, but let's just put 182.8889 in pounds. Okay, because the mean weight is in pounds. The weight is in pounds. And that's it for the first part there. Okay. All right. So then now we're going to go back to the sample editor and change the weight of 34 pounds in row 12 to 3,400. And then we're going to repeat part A and record the new value of the mean. Okay. So let's go to this part right here. And let's go back to the sample editor. And so now what we'll do is we'll go to row 12, and I'll put 3,400 there temporarily. And we'll go through the exact same thing as before. We'll look at the data. We'll go to Explore Data, Descriptive Statistics. I'm going to select the weight, and then we're going to evaluate. Yeah. And you can see the mean has changed quite a bit. Now it's 244.22222 pounds. Okay, so now let's take a screenshot of this. Okay. And let's put it right here. Desktop. So, as I said, you definitely want to include, that's the first one. And okay, so now I'm going to just cut and paste into here. There's always, of course, formatting issues. Okay, try to make that look as nice as possible, but you know, okay, all right, but that's again up to you. So for the most part, we're going to again, you want to get the screenshot, paste it into your lab document, and then now you want to answer the question. Okay, so what's the question? Well, the question is going to be, so we're going to record the new value of the mean, and so it's right here. It's 244.2 pounds approximately. So the new mean weight is 245.22 pounds. Okay, again, you don't have to put all of that. That's not strictly necessary there. Okay, and then now, finally, we want to answer the actual question. So again, let's try to format that as nicely as possible. So did the mean change much when 3,400 was changed? When 34 pounds was changed to 3,400 pounds? And the answer, I think, is pretty clear. Yes, yes. The mean, yes, it did change. And the mean the mean weight increased by approximately, okay, so what is that, about 183, so 17, okay, so about approximately 62 pounds. Let's just leave it like that. You don't necessarily, it doesn't need to, the actual exact number is not important. The only important thing is to realize that there was a substantial increase in weight, right, when we changed that one entry in the mean weight. Okay. All right. So hopefully that's okay with everyone feels okay with 1, 2. Now let's kind of go through 1, 3. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do something. We're gonna use the same data set. And we're going to do is we're going to convert the weights to kilograms because it's in pounds. All right. So how to do that? We multiply each of the weights by 0.4536. Okay. All right. And we're going to use StatDisk to do this. Okay. So let's do that. Okay. So we'll go back to this part right here, and let me just change this to. Not that it's not going to matter, because but let's just change it to 34. And so then now what we'll do is we'll go to, in this case, we'll go to Data, Sample Transformations. And what we're going to do is I'm going to select the column, which is going to be the weight. We're going to multiply each by, and that's the multiplication symbol. There's a plus, there's a minus, there's multiplication, division, and power and modulo. And in our case, we're going to multiply by 0.4536. And we're going to just put that back into the exact same column, right? So these are basically the basic transformations. Now we'll just click on basic transformation, and we'll see. We'll get this. Okay. And you can see each of the weights now in this column have been transformed from pounds into kilograms. Okay. All right, so now we can just, so now the next part just says, okay, well, write down the weights in kilograms of the first 5 bears. Okay. Well, we'll go here. Let me just kind of laboriously do this and kind of go through this one. So let's look at this one. The first one is the first five weights in kilograms are. So the first one is 36.28 kilograms. Again, sorry, it's just going to be fairly laborious. Again, you can just obviously just cut and paste here, but let me just kind of go through this. 156.0384, 188.6976, and then 154.58, sorry, sorry about that, that's 157.5828. And then finally, the last one is going to be 75.2976. Okay. All right, so that's it. All right, so, and that's it for lab 1. All right, okay. And so finally, you want to take this, and I'm going to export to, remember, you can only submit a PDF. So I'm going to export this numbers document as a PDF, and I'm going to call lab 1 and save on desktop, and that's it. And so finally, we'll take this lab 1 here, which you can just see right here, like I said, it's just something like this, and I'll put this as this. You can see this will also be on Canvas, and you want to upload this to Canvas and submit it for you and or your group. Okay, all right, great, and that's it.